brief idea of how the paper is, no going in details. I mean, yes, the paper was overall tougher as compared to the previous years, mainly because of the con section. Even the con section, mainly because of the DI section. The con was tough. I'm not saying the con was easy, but mainly because of the DI section. There were sitters. I'm not saying there were no sitters, but yes, it was a little difficult to spot the sitters as far as con is concerned in the ZAT 26. So yeah, comparatively difficult paper, and because the paper was difficult for that con section, the cutoffs expected to go down. I mean, normally what happens, and normally what is seen is when a paper goes slightly up or difficult level goes up, the cutoff drastically falls down, mainly because people panic in the examination. So as long as you're not panicked in the examination, you're able to keep your calm and solve, I think that should be a decent attempt or decent way of solving the examination. So if I expect what the cutoff for con will be, cutoff is expected to go down maybe by a couple of marks as compared to last year. If last year 7 to 8 marks was supposed to be good, I mean, no, 8 to 9 marks was supposed to be good for XLRI, this year I would expect the cutoff to go down by a couple of marks. So which means around 6 to 7 marks is what is supposed to be decent. I mean, it can go down to 5. So as I said, when the paper is tough, the cutoff goes down drastically. Expected that the sectional cutoff for con is expected to go down drastically because a lot of people have not solved the questions, and therefore there will be more negative marks for not solving the paper. The verbal was tough, not tough, verbal was lengthy, and because of which a lot of time would have gone there. So the unattempted question would be higher. So again, negative marks for that, apart from the fact that con is tough. So yes. So as I said, cutoff approximately around 6 for BM, maybe for Excel is what is expected. Again, for female, for non-engineers, could go a little bit down below that, but yes, that is what is expected cutoff for. DM was supposed to be decent in terms of the paper. I mean, familiar, if you have gone to the previous PYQs, I think you'd be able to solve the DM section. I don't see a problem with DM. People were able to solve. Among the 3 section, DM was a face saver. That's always every day in the exam. If you look at any exam, they will always keep one section which is, people are safe, playable to solve, and one section where people is little tough, etc. So here in the ZAT examination, the con section was slightly on the tougher side, whereas the DM section was more of a safer bet as such. So if you're able to solve DM, I would have recommended people should solve more of DM question. If you solve more DM, it's always good because that is where you could maximize the score. Maximizing in verbal and con would have been very difficult for this examination, but maximizing DM could have been easy. So yes, DM cutoff could be 7 to 8 marks. We'll have to see if there's any this one, but approximately 7 to 8. But cutoff for DM I would expect to be slightly more as compared to the con section. Con, as I mentioned, the cutoff could be around 6. For DM, the cutoff could be around 7 to 8 for XLRI BM section for male. Now, VLR was lengthy. I mean, I'm not saying tough, but lengthy. That is mainly because there were quite a few RCs which were there, and lengthy RCs because of which it would make sense for a person who's not very great in VRC to leave the RC sections, not solve all the RCs, maybe leave one of RCs and focus more on the other section as such. So yes, cutoff may go down a little bit mainly because of the more difficulty level of the verbals, more lengthy. It's not that difficult, but being more lengthy as far as the verbal section is concerned. So which means the cutoff could be around 6-7 marks for BM for Excel. So that is what is expected to be. So overall, if I put the cutoff for both for Con and for VA, you can say 6, I would say, marks. For DM, maybe around 7 to 8. Overall, the cutoff could go up from 20 to 23 marks approximately, plus on that respect. But yes, I mean, just put in a nutshell, the paper was tougher, mainly because 2 things. One is con section, the verbal section being a little lengthier because of bigger RCs. The con section being tougher, the DI was almost different and unsolvable, and the con was little twisted and difficult to solve. So because of these reasons, the paper was a little difficult. So expect the cutoff to be lower this time. And if the cutoffs are going to be lower, I'm sure, just keep your calm. I mean, it will be like the con section, hopefully. If you're being calm and you're able to solve the paper in a given time frame without panicking in the examination, I'm sure you should be able to do well. And as I said, whenever the paper is tougher, whenever the paper is different, the cutoff normally goes down drastically. And I would put this as a difficult paper, and because it's a difficult paper, the cutoff is expected to come down. All the best for your results. We'll come out with more details regarding the whole ZAT and maybe other things that we can do. You can contact us for any issues that you face. All the best.